Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lisa Elvin Stoltari, and I am a genealogist and a passionate traveler. Over the last couple of years or so, I've been featuring each fille du roi or king's daughter and getting to know their stories a little bit better. There are over 700 of them. We have come a long way. We are on episode 197 today, but we've got a long way to go. But before we begin, let me show you ways you can support the channel. The first three keep you in the know. Subscribe, like, and notify. The next three are ways to help the channel grow. We have platforms called Coffee, Patreon, and also the super thanks that YouTube permits me to do now that I've achieved over 1,000 subscribers. And thank you for all of you who have contributed and helped thus far. So with that being said, let's get started and get to know our fille du roi of this episode. Fille du roi of this episode is Marie Priault, and she is a viewer request. Now, I have to break it to you, she is no longer considered a fille du roi. I am not quite clear why, but she is no longer on the PDRH list of official fille du roi. However, as I've told you many times, I intend to follow the path that was blazed by Peter J. Gagne in his fabulous two-part book series and on the fille du roi. And so she is listed there, and so we know she existed. We know she was a great grandmother, and we will carry on. She's a fille du roi to us. So let us proceed and get to know her a little bit better. So here's where the story gets a little bit interesting. She was born, we think, about 1645, probably in France, unknown location and unknown parents. Part of the reason for this, you will see the document trail grow stale, and so we are unable to piece it together. Let's carry on. So we do know that she arrived in New France on July 3rd, 1668, aboard the ship La Nouvelle France. We do not know if she had a dowry. Again, we are very, very, light on knowledge about our beautiful Marie. The man that she would select and who would select her, his name was Pierre Geoffron, and he was born about 1638 in the commune. As you know, commune means township or village, Fontenay-le-Comte, in France. His parents are unknown. So again, we have one more, complexity to this story. He was born, Fontenay-le-Comte is found in the region of France known as Pays de la Loire, and inside of that region, he is from the Département de Vendée. And the Fontenay-le-Comte is a very ancient, it's part of the ancient province of Poitou, which is now the Department of La Vendée, which is part of the Loire region. This area dates back to the Gauls, and during its history was captured and recaptured by the French and English. The picture of this castle tells the story of this amazing area. It's called Le Château de la Terre Neuve, which means Castle of the New Land, and dates to the late 15th century. It is open to the public. Can you imagine seeing that? The Church of Notre Dame of this commune dates to the 13th century, but was completely rebuilt in the 15th. Pierre would likely have come to New France in 1665 and be working out his terms of engagement, which would permit him to marry by 1668 or 69. You can see in the 1667 census that he is a domestic working in the household of Jean Aubuchon, and he is 33 years old. And here's the real reason why there's so much mystery to this couple. There's no marriage record. Doesn't mean they weren't married. Of course they were married. But we do not have the record of it. So without the record of it, we don't know where he's from. We know where he's from based on other information. But we don't know his parents' names, which we normally would find on a marriage record. And obviously, all her information is lost as well. So we know that they probably were married by 1668, which is when she arrived, or as late as 1669, based on their children. So once they were married, they would settle at a place called Verchères. It is about 62 kilometers northeast of Montreal. It's situated on the south shore of the St. Lawrence River between Longueuil and Sorel. The history of this place in that in 1665, François Jarrat Sœur de Verchères, obtained a commission with the Gagne regiment and was sent to New France. In 1672, he was granted the seigneury of Verchères for his military service. During wartime, the seigneury was subjected to frequent Iroquois attacks. To combat this problem, de Verchères erected what is known as a palisade around the manor house. It was from the defense of this palisade that the legend of his daughter, 14-year-old Marie-Madeleine Jarret de Verchères, originates. That um, upper left picture is a monument to Marie-Madeleine and how she defended her family and the village, actually, and was just an amazing 14-year-old girl, you know. And the picture there is present-day Verchères. And then I just showed you the map of Montreal and kind of showed you where Verchères is to give you an idea, perspective. This little clip is the 1681 census. We have Pierre, who's 43. His wife, Marie, is 36. Children are André, Jean, Marie, Toussaint, François, Anne. They have 3 goats and 8 alfamara, probably 6 acres of land. Marie and Pierre would go on to have 9 children. Their first, André, became an engagé and is not heard of again after 1691. Again, this would be an interesting DNA experiment to see if there's any American connection through André. But again, we have no paper trail. Jean would marry Catherine Milot and had 5 children, 3 of whom would make it to adulthood. He then marries Marie-Françoise and has 3 children, 1 of whom made it to adulthood. Marie would marry Pierre Laverne, but he dies within 3 years of their marriage, and her second marriage to Jacques Richer would produce 10 children, 5 of whom would make it to adulthood. Toussaint would return to France, where he did marry, but no information on any children. Again, wouldn't that be an interesting, research assignment? Next child, Michel, would die before the 1681 census. Françoise would marry Louis Rollo and have 8 children, all of whom would make it. Anne would die after the 1681 census. Pierre would die at 3 years of age. Hélène, we assume, also passed away in infancy. Marie would die first at the age very young of 53. She and Pierre would have been married almost 30 years, and they would have, by 1729, 100 descendants. Pierre would pass away less than 4 years later himself at the age of 65. Now, what's so important is to make sure that we remember all of our ancestors, and there is at Verchères the pioneer families, and guess what? This family, the Gevrons, are included there, as is Marie is there as well, even though later on she's decided that she's not going to be a fille de roi, but somehow before that she was. So wanted to let you know, if this is your ancestry, you can actually go to Verchères, and that will be in one of the parks there. So for further research, we have Les Filles du Roi, the Varennes de Verchères, done by la Société d'Histoire des Filles du Roi. And I've also posted the information for you to obtain that book. I have the book. It was given to me by my best friend at Christmas. Fabulous. And it basically chooses some of the pioneers. And guess what? Marie is there. So have a look at that. As always, I love to recommend some further research site. We have La Société des Filles du Roi, which I am a member and the membership chairperson. It's a fabulous website for you to, you can, even as a non-member, there are resources, and then as a member, even more potentials as well. And the way to join is you can be an associate member if you don't have a direct link. And if you have a direct link, you can prove your heritage and get a nice certificate and get all access to all of the information. Then we have the Quebec Genealogical E-Society, kind of a newer kid on the block, but absolutely very, very good society in terms of the information it provides. We have Généalogie de Québec et Amérique française, Nos Origines, as it's often called. WikiTree, of course, and the Filles du Roi Descendants is a fabulous website for connecting those dots. and finding cousins. And then we have Généalogie Québec, which is a monthly paid service that I could not live without. And then a new addition to this board is La Société d'Histoire des Filles du Roi, who produced those fabulous books on les Filles du Roi, and also has a wonderful website for you to explore. And our study of episode 197 of Marie Priault, even though she's not a fille du roi, she really did get around. And she definitely was somebody who, even though she wasn't alive for very long, she managed to give us 100 descendants. And she was definitely part of that pioneer family of Verchères and be part of that whole history of that part of Montreal. So for that, we honor her contribution, we bless her memory, and we are grateful that she came to our shores. I also want to thank my patrons and supporters. Thank you so much. Your support means the world to me. Thank you so much. And with that, I thank you and I bid you adieu and au revoir until I see you on episode 198.